Human. Oh, not for long. Your kind has been here many times more than once. You must need the crystals, yes. They act as the key to the next destination. I have one here. However, do excuse my selfishness this one time, but I request a fair trade for it. There is a story between us cave dwellers, a fairy tale of a savior who caused the Great Coalescence. However, it has been a while since I have been told the tale. I would like to hear it again, to recollect. The others should know the pieces and facts about the story. You should be able to piece it together, so I may remember it again. There is no overlap in the story. Two characters cannot share the same season, nor can they share the same location. Come back to me when you organize the information to my left. I will know if it is correct.
Here's what each of the cave dwellers said. This grid is where we input the answer, but we can also use it to keep track of the information we have. A white square indicates a possibility, a red square indicates an impossibility, and a green square indicates a certainty. To solve this puzzle, we'll need to use a lot of logical reasoning, especially the process of elimination. One discovery will lead to another, which will lead to another, which will lead to another, slowly inching our way to the final answer. First, let's take our introduction and hints and cut out all the unnecessary text. That's better. If you'd still like to try solving this puzzle on your own, now is your last chance to pause and try and figure it out yourself, preferably by playing the game. A link is in the description if you would like to check it out. Keep in mind that the method I'm about to show you is only one of many ways to reach the final answer, so don't worry if your steps look a little bit different than mine. Let's put down the information that was directly given to us in the hints. We know from hint 1 that the hero is not in the tavern, so we'll mark that square red. We also know from hint 1 that the seer is in spring, so we'll mark that square green. We know from hint 2 that it's autumn in the graveyard and not spring in the tavern. The cave dweller with the crystal told us that we can't have any overlap, which means that for each solved square, we can rule out all squares on the horizontal and verticals for that section. If it's autumn in the graveyard, that means it can't be autumn in any of the other locations, and it can't be any season other than autumn in the graveyard. Now, things are going to get trickier, because we'll need to start using information that is indirectly stated by our hints. First, we'll look at hint 4. We know because of the overlap rule that if the seer or the villain is in the dungeon, then the hero and the dragon cannot be in the dungeon. If we look at the way hint 5 is worded, we can safely assume that the dragon and all the other subjects of the sentence are not the same. This means that the dragon is not the one in the tavern, not the one in spring, which we already have, and not the one in winter. Hint 3 states that the villain was one season before the dragon. The dragon cannot be in seasons winter or spring, so the villain cannot be in either of the seasons preceding those. Autumn comes before winter, and winter comes before spring. If the villain isn't in winter, spring, or autumn, that leaves only one possibility for the villain's season: summer. Now that we know the villain's season, we can use hint 3 again. The villain was 2 seasons away from the hero, and the only season that could be 2 seasons away from summer in either direction is winter. Again, we can deduce through the process of elimination that the dragon is in autumn. Hint 2 mentions that it was autumn in the graveyard and not spring in the tavern. We know the seasons of all of the characters, so we can deduce that the dragon is in the graveyard, because the dragon and the graveyard are both in autumn, and that the seer is not in the tavern, because the seer is in spring and the tavern is not. Through elimination, we know the location of the villain and the seer. Knowing the season and location of a character tells us the season of that location, so I'll also fill in that information on the right section. Now we can fill in the season of the castle and the location of the hero, which finishes the board.
That's it. You've done it. Well done. As per was the agreement, here is your crystal. You are welcome here. If you wish, you can ask me questions, and I can give you answers.
This puzzle is a simplified variation on the Who's Fish riddle allegedly created by Albert Einstein. If you'd like to know more about the original riddle, I've provided a link in the description to an article that does a great job of explaining it in depth. If you haven't already and you'd like to play the game this puzzle comes from, I've also provided a link to the game in the description.